start. Welcome everybody, and today we would be starting off with some very basic part of the indirect taxes, that is your GST. And let me tell you one thing: the law as such is quite manageable, but obviously there are a lot of issues that we are all facing in it, and that is how the law is meant to be as well. But before jumping on to the issues, before trying to evaluate where we are, where we are not, as a student of law, there are always two questions that we would be having. The question number one is, why are we studying that law? And question number two is, what is that law all about? So why and what we should always be knowing. What is the entire law, and why is something that creates a base? So if I have to put it very simply, अगर आपका why clear नहीं रहता तो आपका what हमेशा ही confusion state में रहेगा. अगर आपका why clear है तो आपको मालूम है कि पीछे का intention क्या है. What obviously उसका एक implementation part है, what obviously एक conceptual framework, but why सबसे crucial. So फिलहाल हम ये चीज चेक करेंगे कि जो हमारा 01/07/2017 को the biggest IDT reform आया, ठीक है, that is as we all know GST जो implement हुआ या जो आया, वो क्यों आया? क्योंकि जब तक हमें क्यों समझ नहीं आएगा वो क्या है तो दूर की बात हो सकती है. अब ये डेट है, हम सबको मालूम है दैट इस डेट के पहले, दैट इज बिफोर 01/07, या इफ आई हैव टू पुट अप एग्जैक्ट डेट्स अप टू 30/06 एग्जिस्टिंग इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस थे. इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस तो था ही. अब जो एग्जिस्टिंग इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस थे से उनके एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं अपन. एक्साइज ड्यूटी थी, वैल्यू एडेड टैक्सेस वैट थे. ये सब में कुछ ना कुछ ड्रॉबैक्स होंगे, कुछ ना कुछ एरर्स होंगे, कुछ ना कुछ कंसेप्चुअल इश्यूज होंगे. इसीलिए तो आपको कुछ चेंज करना पड़ा. अगर सब चीज प्रॉपर चलती है तो हमें चेंज की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं होती. चेंज हमें तभी करना पड़ता है अगर कोई चीज का एरर है या कोई चीज में तकलीफ हमें हो रही. तो याद रखना, जीएसटी आया क्योंकि वैट वाज नॉट अप टू द मार्क. आई डू नॉट से खराब था, बट इट वाज मे बी नॉट अप टू द, वैट वाज नॉट अप टू मार्क. अब सबसे बड़ी चुनौती क्या थी, या व्हाट वाज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम दैट अ पर्सन यूज्ड टू फेस? Okay, so in the entire series of the explanation we have three main characters. Okay, how many characters are there? Three. One is Shivi. Who is she? She is always a supplier, या जो भी माल बेचने वाला साइड रहता है या सर्विस प्रोवाइड करने वाला साइड रहता है, that is always she. Second is Nihal. He is always the recipient. And third is Government of India. Okay, क्योंकि जब आप टैक्सेस की बात करते हो तो आप गवर्नमेंट को साइड में नहीं रख सकते. क्यों? क्योंकि टैक्स अल्टीमेटली जाता तो गवर्नमेंट के पास में। सो अब हम ये चेक करेंगे कि जो पुराने सिस्टम्स थे हमारे, उसमें ऐसा क्या था कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को ऐसा लगा यार सप्लायर भी परेशान है, रेसिपिएंट भी परेशान है, सो एक काम करते, लेट अस डू अवे विथ देयर डिफिकल्टीज, let us get a system like that which eases out all the difficulties that were there. First difficulty, we all know that in India there are government at various levels, but the two major governments are central government and state government. Central government needs the same thing as the state government needs, that is revenue, and we all know what is the major source of revenue, taxes. अब क्या हुआ, central government has certain powers, state government also has certain powers. अब इंडिया में दोनों गवर्नमेंट, दैट इज सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एज वेल एज स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हैड पावर टू कलेक्ट टैक्सेस, टू लेवी टैक्सेस एंड एज वेल एज टू कलेक्ट. सो अब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट भी कुछ टैक्स कलेक्ट कर रही है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट भी कुछ टैक्स कलेक्ट कर रही है. फॉर श्योर है, will central government like to sacrifice their revenue? No. State government? No. तो अल्टीमेटली बर्डन किस पे शिफ्ट हो रहा था? The entire burden was on the customer. Customer, or you can say recipient. I hope I am very clear till now.
Yes, sir.
तो अब जब सेंट्रल है, स्टेट है, दोनों को पैसे चाहिए, तो होता ये था कि से फॉर एग्जांपल माय टैक्स रेट इज, say my rate of tax is 10%. Okay, and yeah, this is just, the tax rate is taken is just for an example purpose, because whenever you would be seeing this video you would be coming to a conclusion, Nihal 10% पे तो tax rate कोई है ही नहीं, so तो 10% लेकर क्यों चल रहा है. So this is just to make you all understand and be very precise about what I am speaking. So assuming that rate of tax is 10% at both the levels, that is central level as well as state. So what used to happen was, say एक प्रोडक्ट है, ठीक है, let us name it as product not available. Okay, the product's name is product not available. So product not available की जो cost है, cost of say production or cost of say manufacturing, that is 1000. So the moment वो प्रोड्यूस हो गया, मूवमेंट वो बन गया, मैन्युफैक्चरर हो गया, फर्स्ट गवर्नमेंट दैट कम्स टू द सीन इज ऑलवेज द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, बिकॉज पहला हक हमेशा सेंटर का. So central government is asking taxes at how much percent? 10%. So this will turn out to be 100 rupees. अब जब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की बारी है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट बोलती है दैट द कॉस्ट फॉर आवर पर्पस, ओके, कॉस्ट फॉर हुज पर्पस? स्टेट गवर्नमेंट पर्पस इज 1100 rupees. Now tell me whether this cost is correct or it is incorrect. Obviously it is not correct. But That is how it used to be. Then who is levying taxes? The state government. Again, what is the tax rate? Say 10%. So that will turn out to be how much? 110.
10 rupees.
Now what is the total price? 1210. So if Shivi, who is the seller or the supplier, is selling goods to Nihal, Nihal is buying it at 1210 rupees and Shivi is selling it at 1210 rupees. So what is the amount of money that the central government made? 100.
100 rupees.
What is the government amount of money that the state government?
110.
Now understand the same scenario from Nihal's point of view, because what has Shivi got to do with it is absolutely nothing. What will Shivi do? She will collect 1210, pay 100 to the state government and pay 110 rupees to the state pay 100 to the central government and 110 rupees to the state government. तो शिवी के लिए it is all clear, fine, उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा. बट अब निहाल के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सोचो, ये सेम ट्रांजेक्शन. निहाल ये सोचता है, यार मैंने पहले टैक्स भरा 1000 रुपए का, चलो ये तो फिर भी ठीक था. जो सेकेंड टैक्स मैंने भरा वो मैंने भरा 1100 रुपीज पे. सो ये क्या हो गया? इट इज बेसिकली टैक्स ऑन टैक्स. निहाल बोलता है यार ये गलत हो रहा है मेरे साथ. आई एम ओके पेइंग टैक्सेस ऑन 1000 rupees, but I am not okay paying tax on that 100 rupees extra. So this tax on tax is basically known as cascading effect. I hope a terminology clear hai. If somebody tells that there is a cascading effect of taxes, what they are trying to tell you is that it is a tax on tax ka scenario. Now understand cascading effect कितने का है. Okay, 110 रुपए का cascading effect नहीं है. The cascading effect is only of rupees 10. How rupees 10? Take up a scenario कि cascading effect नहीं होता तो 1000 रुपीज की कॉस्ट रहती. सीजी कितना कलेक्ट करती है? 100. एसजी कितना कलेक्ट करती है? 100. तो आपको प्राइस कितना आता? 1200. अभी कितना आ रहा है? 1210. So what is the difference?
10 rupees.
How is that 10 rupees derived?
Yes, 1210 minus 1200.
No, it is 100 into 10%. ये रहा 100. 100 का आपने कितना परसेंट निकाला? 10%, because the rate of tax was 10%. Now if the rate of tax would have been 28%, what would have been the tax cascading effect? Appropriately that would have changed by 18%. This is clear?
Yes,
Am I very clear as
yes,
to
sir.
what I mean by cascading effect and what is tax on tax?
Yes, sir.
The next one. Who pays the taxes? That is, burden of taxes lies on whom? See, how many parties were there? 3. One was Shivi, one was Nihal, one was the government. The question that I am asking is who pays the taxes? So for sure है गवर्नमेंट नहीं हो सकती, गवर्नमेंट will never pay any tax, it will only collect taxes. So the remaining two parties, either Shivi or Nihal, that is either the supplier or the recipient. Now what happens in an indirect tax? Shivi and Nihal, what is Shivi doing? Shivi is supplying product, or Shivi is selling product not applicable to whom? To Nihal, at a price of rupees 1000. Shivi says that Nihal, if you have to buy this product from me, you have to pay me the price of product plus something extra. Why? Because Shivi will only tell Nihal one simple thing. Nihal, the price is 1000 रुपया तो प्रोडक्ट का है, प्लस गवर्नमेंट का भी कुछ हिस्सा है इसमें. I don't own that money. The money does not belongs to me. The money would surely be going to the government. तो से शिवी ने उस पे 18% का टैक्स अप्लाई कर दिया. That becomes 180. 118. Now what will Shivi do? Shivi will say that this is my सेल्स, बस क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट तो 1000 रुपए का ही बेचा आपने, नॉट एप्लीकेबल. नाउ दिस अमाउंट, ओके, यहां पर व्हाट हैज शिवी डन? शिवी हैज merely collected, okay, शिवी हैज merely collected on behalf of whom?
Government.
Absolutely. So has Shivi suffered the impact of it? No. So who has ultimately suffered the impact? Nihal. That is the recipient. So in an indirect tax regime, who pays taxes? It is always the
Customer.
recipient. This brings me to a very important conclusion, that ultimately the burden of taxes will fall on the recipient. I hope I am clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now the third and the most important issue which was there in the earlier tax system and which was supposed to be removed in the GST regime, that was seamless credit. Now we know that there are three parties as such, but for this example, let us introduce one more party. So say there is Mr. DP. DP का काम क्या है? He would only do manufacturing. Shivi is there. Shivi is a, say, retailer. Okay. And finally there is Mr. Nihal, who is the final customer. Now what happened, or rather what used to happen was, सबके लिए देखो एक cost price होगी, there would be cost price for all. There would be profit. Cost plus profit is generally my sales price. Sales price पे I'll have to levy taxes. Correct? Taxes कितने टाइप के थे अपने पास में? दो. one by the central government, one by the
One state government.
state government, and then my invoice value used to turn. अब हुआ ये, जैसे मिस्टर डीपी की कॉस्ट प्राइस वाज से 1000. Let us take up a profit percentage of 20, so that is 200 rupees. So you can use down your calculators. It was 1200 rupees. Now 1200 rupees पे we had say tax at the rate 10% respectively. So central government का शेयर कितना होएगा? 120. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का शेयर कितना होएगा? 1200 प्लस 120 इंटू 10%. So ये कितना होएगा? 130. So what is my invoice value? 1452 rupees. क्लियर? कुछ नहीं, सिंपल मैथमेटिक्स है. 1000 से आप 1452 पे पहुंचे. Now if I have to say the cost to Shivi, what will be the cost to Shivi? It would be 1452 or it would be 1200.
Cost to Shivi will be 1000 only, no, sir?
The cost to Shivi
Sorry,
will
to
never be 1000.
Shivi. Sorry. Cost to Shivi will be 1452.
1452 is one answer.
Okay.
Now this is where a majority of us go wrong. In the previous slide, what we had understood that the amount of taxes were only collected on behalf of us and it would be paid to the government. So when I sit and evaluate the cost to Shivi, I would only say that my cost is 1200. It cannot be 1452. Though, yes, my actual cash outflow is 1452, but my cost cannot be 1452. Because here, am I the final customer? Answer is no. The final burden lies on the recipient. Am I the final customer? No. So the final burden does not lie on me. I would also pass it on.
Okay.
Okay. अब चलिए आगे. Say the cost percentage of profit percentage of Shivi is again 20%. It is 240. So my selling price is 1440. It would be how much? 144 and 1440 plus 10% into 10%. 158.40. So what is the invoice value that Shivi gives to the customer? 1742.40. Now what is the cost to Nihal being the final customer? It is 1440 or 1742? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So now let us understand that this is something which is supposed to be there. So when I say that this is something which is supposed to be there, then there is some error in this thing. Now what is the error all?
Sir, the tax collected by the manufacturer is nowhere seen in the invoice value of the recipient. And
No, 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 no. That is not the error exactly which is there. The error is on a very conceptual level. What we understand is that, sir, जो ये 144 है, उसमें से I would have got certain benefit out of it. 158 में से भी मेरे को कुछ benefit मिल गया रहेगा, because being a retailer, I have already paid it to my manufacturer. But the point is, the government says no. ये benefit आपको नहीं मिलेगा. अब जब आपको ये बेनिफिट नहीं मिलता, तो what will happen to you? Your cost will go up. जब ये बेनिफिट आपको नहीं मिलता, तो अगेन योर कॉस्ट विल गो अप. Now what has happened is, the government says you are a retailer, so we would collect taxes from you, but we would not allow set off of this. So then what will you do? You would add this to your cost. So when you add this 120 to your cost, what is your revised cost price? 1320. Is this conceptual framework clear? If this is clear, I would be taking out next to you with the exact name of the taxes, the exact credit of which was not permitted, and the exact credit of which was permitted. This is a broad conceptual level as to what the error was.
Yes, sir.
Is this conceptually clear as to what the issue was?
Yes, sir. So, sir, one very silly doubt, sir. This 120 plus 132 state government tax will also be charged by the retailer, right? Yeah, only that central tax.
That is what I am telling it to you, that now this is only on a conceptual level. Now whether that retailer is dealing purely in goods or dealing in services as well, that will depend. So if that person deals only in goods, then that 132 may be permitted.
Okay.
Okay, so let us understand that with the name of exact taxes. So once that exact taxes comes into place or into picture, you will be very clear about it. Mr. DP, he is the manufacturer. Cost 1000, profit 200. Now central government used to levy excise duty on manufacture or production of goods. Say the rate of it was 10%. So what will it be? And if you are a manufacturer and if you are selling goods, so the central government used to levy a tax known as VAT. Say that was again at the rate of 10%, 130, 142, 145. So यहाँ पे what is our product's name? Not available. So not available is a goods. So now when this not available goes to Shivi, अब वापस शिवी मैन्युफैक्चर तो करेगी नहीं, because a product is already manufactured and it can only be manufactured once. So अब आती है शिवी जो सिर्फ ट्रेडिंग करेगी इसमें. What is Shivi going to do? Only trade in it. So the cost to Shivi can be 1. 1,200, 2, 1,320, 3, 1,452. Now, obviously, when the central government will not levy any taxes on this transaction now, the benefit of the taxes paid will also not be available to Shivi. So the cost to Shivi here would be 1,320. 1,320 what will Shivi do? She will add her profit, say at the rate of again 20%. That is how much? 264 rupees. The total of it comes out to 1,584. अब उसको और क्या चार्ज करना पड़ेगा इस पे? Value added taxes, that is VAT, say at the rate of 10%. 158.40, 1742.40. So ultimately यहाँ पर क्या हुआ? Shivi has paid some taxes to the central government. जिसका उसको कोई benefit नहीं मिला. Obviously, Shivi has got benefit of this amount, that is 158.4 minus 132. So 26.4 is the net payment which Shivi will do, but to which government? To the state government. Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
With the introduction of GST, the government says, Mr. DP, manufacturer, your cost is 1,000, good. Your profit is 20%, wonderful. Now you levy two taxes, CGST and SGST, both. On which value? This one. So I say 120, I say 120.
Yes, sir.
1,440. Miss Shivi, you are a retailer. Wonderful. Your costing is 1,200. 20% profit, 240. 1,440. Levy GST. On which value? This value. So this is how much? And now, Shivi, we give you the benefit of GST. The entire GST Act, the backbone of the entire GST Act is supposed to be this concept. 144 minus 120, 24 rupees. 24 rupees. Now Shivi make us the payment of how much rupees only? Shivi will now make the payment 24 rupees to the central government, 24 rupees to the state government. Now this concept is known as seamless flow of credit. Am I clear as to what was not there earlier and what has come now?
So earlier, sir, there was no credit of this provided to Shivi for CGST. Over here, they are providing, right? It's like
Correct, correct. Am I clear with respect to this as well? So what were the three major things that were not available?
yes, sir.
Or so rather, that was the three major things that were there. Tax on tax was there. Yes. Seamless
Yes.
flow of credit was not there. Yes. And be it any system, be it indirect taxes. So I mean, be it the earlier indirect taxes or be it the current indirect taxes, the ultimate burden of the tax is to be borne by the recipient only. The supplier is merely a collector of taxes on behalf of the government, and the supplier merely pays it to the government after collecting it from the recipient. I hope I am clear on this aspect at least.
Yes, sir.
So now, introduction of GST. Now a bit of what to say theory for you. As I had already said that in India, both central as well as the state government used to levy taxes. Now after introduction of GST, all of this got merged with the entire GS and T. So what are the examples of taxes, or rather what are the taxes which got merged? From the central government, there was central excise, there was service tax, and then there was additional duty of customs, additional duty of excise, special value add, special duty of customs and all. From the state level, the two major taxes that got merged were value added taxes, central sales tax, luxury tax, and so on. Now there is nothing called as sales tax, central tax, sales tax, VAT, service tax, central excise, everything is now known as GST. One more thing that was causing problem was, say, classification of something into something. Classification. So, you know, we all visit restaurants. Like अभी चलो कोरोना चल रहा है 2 साल से, we have not gone much, but then usually we visit restaurants.
Yes, yes, sir.
What we do over there? We enjoy two things. One is the food. Second is the ambience. Ignore my spelling mistakes. Just भावनाओं को समझो. Spelling पे मेरा मत पकड़ना because I'm very weak at spellings. One is food, and second is the ambience, the look, the look and feel of the restaurant. So in earlier taxes, what used to happen was the state government used to say food is good, so we will levy value added tax. Whether the food was good or it was pathetic in real sense, it did not matter to them, because for them good means माल. ठीक है, माल पर हम लोग वैल्यू एडेड टैक्स लगाने ही वाले. What the central government used to say, when you provide a lovely ambience, you provide lovely services. So जब आपने एक बढ़िया सी सर्विस दी है मुझे, तो हम इसको सर्विस मानकर आप पर लगाएंगे सर्विस टैक्स. अब क्वेश्चन ये आता है, यार जब मैं रेस्टोरेंट में जाता हूँ मैं खाना खा रहा हूं तो ऑब्वियस सी बात है बैठ के ही खाऊंगा, उसकी स्पेस यूज करके ही खाऊंगा। आप एक काम करो ना, यू क्लासिफाई इट आइदर एज गुड्स और यू क्लासिफाई इट एज सर्विस। बट आप बोलते नहीं नहीं गुड्स भी है सर्विस भी है, तो व्हाई दिस कंफ्यूजन इज? हियर कम्स योर savior. GST has removed any doubt as to what a restaurant is. For GST, this restaurant is purely either a good or a service, that we would see what it is at the relevant time. But this confusion is no longer there, is what I am trying to tell. I hope I am very clear about it.
Yes, yes, sir.
So this is all about why GST was introduced. Once you have understood the why, what do you next need to understand is the concept of GST. Everybody says different things about GST, maybe because their roles are different, they work in different fields, they work on different aspects of GST. But to all, to everybody practicing in GST, the concept of GST is very, very clear, very, very straightforward, and very absolute and very crystal. One, that GST is a destination based tax. This people also call it as consumption based tax. Now, what does this mean? It means that the GST finally becomes an income. I repeat, GST finally becomes an income as to where the goods or the services are finally consumed. I hope I am clear. But I'll also give you an example to it so that there is no confusion as to what is my final consumption or what is my final destination. Shivi is from Mumbai and Nihal is from Rajasthan. Mumbai, Maharashtra and Rajasthan. Shivi has supplied, say, goods to Nihal. Now, where will Nihal consume these goods? Obviously, in the state of Rajasthan. So, what is the destination of goods? Where have the goods reached finally?
Rajasthan.
Where would the goods be consumed?
Rajasthan.
So, which government deserves this revenue of GST?
Rajasthan.
Government of Rajasthan. I hope I am clear.
Yes.
Second concept. Under GST, there is no term like sale. Under GST, there is no term like मैन्युफैक्चर, प्रोडक्शन, ये सब पुराने टर्म्स थे जो सेंट्रल एक्साइज में थे, वैट में थे. अंडर जीएसटी देयर इज ओनली वन कॉन्सेप्ट दैट इज नोन एज सप्लाई. सप्लाई में सब आ गया. ओके, आप बोलो निहाल में सेल कर रहा हूं, वो भी सप्लाई है. निहाल में सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा हूं, वो भी क्या है? सप्लाई है.
Supply.
Now, if I have to ask you, what is the full form of GST? What will you tell me? It is Goods and Services Tax.
Service tax.
So, goods are also covered, services are also.
Covered.
So, whenever I use the term supply, I do not specifically mean कि मैं goods की बात कर रहा हूँ या मैं service की बात कर रहा हूँ. It can be either of it, it can be both of it as well. Finally, for final customer is supposed to bear the burden of taxes. ये तो चेंज नहीं हुआ है, पहले भी ऐसा ही होता था और अब भी ऐसा ही हो रहा है. Is this much clear?
Yes, sir.
If yes, I will give you a statement which you are supposed to remember throughout your GST studies, throughout your professional careers, and at all the places. GST is a tax levied on what? Supply. Supply can be of goods or services or both.
Both. Both.
Obviously, for a consideration, पैसा तो चाहिए ना, फ्री में थोड़ी करोगे. And it also has to be in the course or furtherance of business. So when I write this statement, what am I trying to tell you is, भाई GST एक टैक्स है जो लेवी होगा सप्लाई पे. So I need to firstly understand tax levy कब होगा, when. Okay, so for that you will have to see topics like time of supply, invoicing, etc. The next thing that I'll have to understand is supply. Okay, and for sure, see, understand, India is a country that runs on a lot of emotions. And when you are studying law, you are supposed to be emotionless. But when I say that you are supposed to be emotionless, I do not mean that you should not understand the emotions. आपको भावनाएं समझ आनी चाहिए, आपको भावनाओं में बहना नहीं. So, supply for sure is defined. When I say it is defined, I try to talk about scope of supply. But I also try to talk about things that are not supply. See, as and when we discuss the scope of supply, you will understand that scope इतना ज़्यादा large है. The scope is extremely huge. Everything can be considered as a supply. But as I say, we are an emotional country. So we need to keep certain elements outside. Outside, considering both common sense plus considering your emotions. Now, if I say that it is supply of goods or service or both, I also need to understand the definition of goods. I also need to understand the definition of services. And I also need to understand that when can it be both. Now, when I say that there is certain thing called as goods. There are certain inclusions as well as there are certain exclusions, because आप सब चीज को नहीं कह सकते कि गुड्स है, आप सब चीज को नहीं कह सकते कि सर्विसेज। याद रखना क्या इंक्लूडेड है क्या एक्सक्लूडेड है, इट विल ऑल कम इन आवर फर्दर लेक्चर सीरीज। फॉर अ consideration, now consideration in very common sense means something in written, कुछ written में आना चाहिए आपके पास, but the government fit, let us keep certain elements, or let us rather break this requirement into two parts. For a few transactions, for a few activities, we would keep that even if there is no consideration, there is yes GST. So when I say that there is no consideration but there is yes GST, my statement changes to something like this, that GST is a tax levy on supply of goods or services or both for no consideration in the course or furtherance of business, and for all the other items bearing this, yes, consideration is required. And obviously the term consideration is also different, we'll see. Now this is something that is, say, very crucial to understand and at the same time very difficult to understand also. That activity has to be in the course or furtherance of your business. So if there is no business happening, there is no GST leviable. But hey, wait, I understand that course or furtherance is something that is purely subjective, but you need to at least define business for me. So we'll have to understand the definition of business as well. Am I clear till here?
Yes, sir.
So now, just let me quickly run through your book as to what you had sent it to me, and then first things first. Acha. When I say first things first, are you now clear as to why are you studying GST?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when our why is clear, what was the next step? What? To start off with what? We now start off with what is GST. First things first, there has to be a supply. Supply is the foremost criteria that we need to understand. Yeah. So remember one thing, I am not too much emphasizing on the section numbers. It is because section numbers are important. I don't say that they are not important, but the first and the foremost thing is that we should first understand what the concept is trying to tell me. Once I'm clear with the concept, I then go and check as to where it is written. But till the time I don't understand whether it is supply or it is not supply, it does not bother to me whether I refer section 7, I refer section 17, I refer section 77. So my major focus is not on section numbers, for sure it is majorly on the concepts. So let us understand the scope of supply. अब देखो, when I understand the word scope, and if I check up GST, if I check up indirect taxes as a whole, larger the scope, larger the goods or services covered, larger the taxpayers, larger the revenue, larger the litigation. So what am I trying to tell you? That in any indirect taxes, the larger your scope, the larger is the power that you have to levy taxes. अब याद रखना, अगर मैं आपको एक ऐसा चीज दे दूं, से फॉर एग्जांपल ये मोबाइल है, जीएसटी इज लेविएबल ऑन मोबाइल, तो आप क्या बोलोगे? मोबाइल पे एप्लीकेबल है ना, ठीक है, मैं मोबाइल के स्टैंड पर जीएसटी नहीं देता, ये सही है? नहीं, ये इंटेंशन रखना है गवर्नमेंट को? नहीं नहीं नहीं, गवर्नमेंट बोलती है हम तो ऐसे जेनरिक डेफिनेशंस देंगे ना आपको, दैट आप इवैल्यूएट करो, और इवैल्यूएशन भी आपको ऐसा करना है कीपिंग इन माइंड as to what a common sense evaluation would give it to you. An example of it. Now I know that I have not taught you what is goods, I know I have not taught you what is services, I know I have not taught you anything, because I have just taught you why was GST required and a statement on GST. You will still be able to answer this question, I guarantee you. GST is leviable on mobile cover, marker, laptop, calculator, charger, or only a few of them?
All.
On all of them. Now understand, when I say, or when you reply why all, you tell me that Nihal, is everything not goods? I say absolutely it is. So when I say it is all goods, what is my scope? सारे type के goods covered है. Am I clear?
Yes. Yes.
So since we have touched upon scope, I would be continuing with scope. In between the scope, okay, I'm telling you, in between the scope, we will also check as to what is the definition of goods and what is the definition of services. I hope I am clear with that.
Yes.
So I'll give you examples. Okay. Scope of supply tells me that, say, if your particular transaction or if your particular activity is sale, transfer, barter, lease, license, exchange, disposal of, there was one more thing, rental. अब मेरे को एक बात बताओ, I have written as to what is written in your law. Now you will understand it via example. अच्छा, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय सेल? सर सेल गुड्स का होता है, मतलब जनरली अगर आपने कैलकुलेटर लिया, लैपटॉप लेके बेचा, सो आप क्या कर रहे हो? यू आर सेलिंग ओनली समथिंग, राइट? सो आई कैन से इट इज sale of laptop, say sale of mobiles, say sale of calculators, etc. Okay, just a second, I'm coming back. Just a second.
Yes, sir.
So all this is nothing but sales. What do you mean by the term transfer? If I have to, ask you in a very common sense, as a layman, छोड़ दो जीएसटी को, जाने दो, सप्लाई में आता है नहीं आता है एक बार साइड में रख दो। जब मैं आपको पूछता हूँ व्हाट इज ट्रांसफर, सो व्हाट इज द फर्स्ट थॉट दैट स्ट्राइक्स टू योर माइंड? Nihal, it can be branch transfers, it can be transfer from go down to what's my retailers, wholesalers place. It can be transfer from say my factory to my go down. Yeah, it can be. So it is such a what to say, such a common term that you have asked, that it can be anything basically, right?
Yes, sir.
When I say barter, barter ka meaning, Nihal, you do something for me and I do something for you. Say for example, Nihal, say you teach me GST and I would do a wonderful photo shoot of you. Or Shivi has say apples and I have say oranges. I want to eat apples and Shivi wants to eat oranges. So I say to Shivi, Shivi, give me your apples and in return I would give you the oranges that I have. So again, this barter is also very common.
Yes.
Similar to barter is exchange. What is the difference between a barter and an exchange? If you can tell me.
Barter is for goods.
I was expecting this
And
answer.
exchange is for
Barter is
currency.
for goods, exchange is for services. It is not the correct way.
No. I mean to say barter is like you. I'm giving you oranges. You give me apples.
Correct.
And exchange is maybe for currency.
Maybe for currency. Will not go to currencies at all. We have the big billion sales, Amazon. We have the schemes like Purana Do, Naya Le Jao. In all of them, what do? You give out your old products. So you give out your existing products plus money for new products.
Yes.
What happens in an exchange is आप अपना पुराना माल तो देते ही हो, but साथ में कुछ और कैश भी देते हो. So if I have to put it very technically now, I'll only say exchange equals to barter plus money. I hope I am clear on this.
Yes.
Rent पे होता है चीज, we take up a lot of things on rent. The first thing when I say that rent पे है, so you would say me, sir, घर. Very true. but think of it on a commercial aspect. You take up shops on rent, you take up softwares on rent. No, software is not that example. You take up shops on rent. आजकल तो लोग कपड़े भी खरीदते हैं. So you know, you take up your clothes also on rent. What is lease? Lease is nothing but rental for a long duration. So if I say मैंने कुछ चीज लीज पर ली है, what am I trying to tell? भाई मैंने उसको कम से कम 10 साल, 15 साल, 20 साल, 25 साल, या if I have to give you the most standard example, अगर कोई भी बैंक आपकी प्रॉपर्टी लीज पर लेती है तो it takes for 99 years. Clear? खत्म. I hope I am clear.
Yes, sir.
License. You know, whenever you buy a software, say an accounting software, what do they give you? They give you a key that they call it as license key. Now, when they give you that license key, what do they share? They share a right to use. You do not become owners of their codes. Their codes belongs to them. They only give you a right to use for a particular period. Say it can be a year, it can be a couple of years, it can be for a lifetime as well. So that is all fine. Everything remains as a part of your license. Now say if you have purchased a subscription packet of any software or any application for lifetime, you still do not become the owner of that application. What you get is a right to use that application, their features, or whatever their premium features or whatever is. Disposal of. Now, whenever we do costing or rather accounting, if we have an inventory, okay, अगर वो आपका stock in trade है, तो the term that you would be using is मैंने मेरा inventory sell कर दिया. And if you have a capital asset, the term that you would generally use is I have disposed of my capital asset. So say for example मेरे ऑफिस में फर्नीचर लगा हुआ है, फिक्चर्स लगे हुए हैं, फर्नीचर फिक्चर्स चलो एक बार सामने रखते हैं. मेरे ऑफिस में एसी लगा हुआ है. अब say I am a faculty, I am teaching, and so I need an office, but that office ka AC is my fixed asset. So whenever I would be selling off my AC, I am selling off my fixed asset. Now this entire video series that is being recorded would obviously be sold off. So ये जब मैं ये sell off कर रहा हूँ, am I disposing of my product? No, 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 no. I am only selling off my services. Now I am selling my goods. I hope I am clear.
Yes, sir.
So on this note, I would be giving you a couple of questions, the answer of which has to come from you. You will have say 30 seconds to a minute's time to think over it and then answer. Okay. So I like to call them case studies. So case study 1. Nihal is a chartered accountant having moderate to expert knowledge in GST. He was approached by Shivi for lectures. Nihal agreed to provide those lectures at a cost. Whether the activity done by Nihal is a supply or it is not a supply. You have 30 seconds time to think over it. You can think and answer.
Sir, it comes under supply.
It comes under supply. Case study 2. The answer is correct. Yes, it comes under supply. Nihal is a laptop dealer. He also repairs laptop at his own shop. Whether a consideration is charged or is not charged depends on whether the laptop is under guarantee, warranty, or is outside the scope of guarantee and warranty. Whether the services provided by Nihal of repairing of laptops comes under the scope of supply or not. You have 30 seconds to think and then answer.
Yes, sir, it is under the scope of supply.
So when both of them comes under the scope of supply, this list this is an inclusive list. As a student of law, we should always understand what is an inclusive list vis-a-vis what is an exclusive list. Inclusive list is a list that gives you an example that, hey, understand, I am trying to list down an examples or list of examples which shall help you to identify what, whether your activities are covered or not covered. An exclusive list is a list which says the particular items is what the law is. अगर ये एक एक्सक्लूसिव लिस्ट होती तो सेल ट्रांसफर बार्टर लीज लाइसेंस एक्सचेंज रेंटल डिस्पोजल ऑफ के अलावा कोई भी एलिमेंट सप्लाई में नहीं होता. इट इज एक्सक्लूसिव मतलब if I say it is an exclusive list, this is what it is. इसके अलावा कुछ भी कवर नहीं होता. And when I say that it is an inclusive list, ये सारे एक एग्जाम्पल्स है. एग्जाम्पल्स को आप एग्जाम्पल्स के जैसे रीड कीजिए और जो आपका केस स्टडी है या जो आपका केस है आप उसे इवैल्यूएट कीजिए कि यहाँ पर जो एग्जाम्पल्स दिए हैं, जो एग्जाम्पल्स में प्रोसेस फ्लो होगा, जो एंड रिजल्ट होगा, आपके भी एक्टिविटीज या ट्रांजैक्शन में सेम एंड रिजल्ट होगा, सेम प्रोसेस होगा. अगर इसका जवाब आता है हाँ, तो ये एक्टिविटी कवर होती है. अगर इसका जवाब आता है ना, तो ये एक्टिविटी कवर नहीं होती. आई होप आई एम क्लियर.
यस सर.
केस स्टडी 1 और केस स्टडी 2 दोनों प्लेस पे हुआ ये कि एक सप्लायर है, एक रेसिपिएंट है. सप्लायर ने सर्विस दी है. एक प्लेस पे सप्लायर ने GST पिक्चर दिए हैं. एक प्लेस पर सप्लायर ने लैपटॉप रिपेयरिंग की सर्विस दी या लैपटॉप रिपेयर करके दिया यार, फ्री में किया नहीं। सप्लायर ने रेसिपिएंट को चार्ज किया, चार्ज करने के साथ में बोला हेलो जीएसटी भी लगेगा। अगर ये नहीं होता तो क्या होता, गुड्स होता, गुड्स में कोई सिनेरियो बदलता नहीं। तो जब गुड्स में भी कुछ सिनेरियो नहीं बदला, सर्विसेज में भी कुछ सिनेरियो नहीं बदला, तो क्या ये सर्विसेज भी कवर हो गई, या क्या ये जो एक्टिविटीज हुए थे वो भी कवर हो गए? यस। Am I clear with respect to this?
Yes, yes, sir.
अब चलिए आगे। आगे चलने से पहले हम एक कॉन्सेप्ट समझते हैं, इंपोर्ट, और एक कॉन्सेप्ट समझते हैं एक्सपोर्ट। देखो मैं टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन फिलहाल डिस्कस नहीं करता, बट व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय द टर्म इंपोर्ट? एकदम सिंपल भाषा में अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं व्हाट इज इंपोर्ट, आंसर क्या आएगा? निहाल, कुछ ऐसी एक्टिविटी होती है जो फॉरेन कंट्री से इंडिया में आती है।
इंडिया में
बहुत बहुत लेमैन का टर्म्स है। और वही मैं पूछूं एक्सपोर्ट क्या होता है? निहाल, इंडिया से बाहर जाती है, और तो क्या होता है?
इंडिया से बाहर।
अब गवर्नमेंट बोलती है दैट वी ट्रीट बोथ ऑफ देम डिफरेंट। दोनों सप्लाई है, हाँ याद रखना, बट हम दोनों को अलग ट्रीट करते हैं। एक्सपोर्ट का जब भी वो रेलेवेंट पार्ट आएगा तब देखेंगे। फिलहाल जो मेरी इंपोर्ट ऑफ सर्विस है ना, या जो इंपोर्ट है उस पर एक क्वेश्चन। वो बोलते इंपोर्ट पे अगर कंसिडरेशन इन्वॉल्व हो जाती, इंपोर्ट पे अगर क्या इन्वॉल्व हो जाती है? कंसिडरेशन, तो उस पर 100% जीएसटी लगेगा। मतलब इट इज श्योरली कवर्ड अंडर द स्कोप ऑफ माय सप्लाई ओनली।
Yes.
थर्ड पार्ट, when I check up the third part, it tells me to look at my modified statement. So what was my modified statement? No consideration, but yes GST. आपने मुझे कहा कि ऐसे भी कुछ आइटम है जिसपे बिना कंसिडरेशन के मैं जीएसटी लगाऊंगा, और वो आपने मुझे एक शेड्यूल में लिख के दे दिया। ओके, सो शेड्यूल 1, नेक्स्ट पार्ट of the supply as well only is, मालूम है अपन ने कुछ कंफ्यूजन्स देखे थे, जैसे अपन रेस्टोरेंट में गए थे, गुड्स ताके सर्विस ताके दोनों थी, ऐसे आपने कुछ क्लेरिफिकेशंस दिए हैं मुझे शेड्यूल 2। लेकिन वो क्या बोलते हैं, आपको क्लेरिफिकेशंस कब रिफर करने हैं? जब वो सप्लाई है। अगर वो सप्लाई नहीं है तो आपको शेड्यूल 2 रिफर नहीं करना है। मैं आपको एक ना सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूं। ओके, इज माय इंटरनेट वर्किंग प्रॉपर्ली?
Sir, it was hanging few minutes back, but now it is okay.
Okay, so I'll give you a very simple example to it. You know, we travel. Yes. And you know that our relatives also travel. Yes, Nihal, relatives also travel. So what is the big deal in it? The big deal is, say for example, आपके relatives जा रहे हैं from हैदराबाद टू कोलकाता। बीच में आता है मुंबई, so it is Hyderabad to Kolkata via Mumbai. They call you and say we need food. Will you be able to say them a no? I don't think so. आप बोलोगे ठीक है, ट्रेन नंबर दे दो, कितने बजे कौन से स्टेशन पे आती है आप मेरे को उसका डिटेल्स दे दो, मैं आपको फूड लाके दे देता हूँ, एकदम घर का कुक्ड फूड, होम कुक्ड फूड इज व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू. So when I say that I'm going to give you a home cooked food, is this supply?
In this case, it will not be supply because it is not for consideration and in not course of business.
So is this supply? Answer is no. Consideration आए नहीं आए, it is not in the course of furtherance of my business. भाई मेरा काम नहीं है टिफिन बेचना या टिफिन बनाकर सेल ऑफ करना. And there can be a consideration because अगर आप खाना लेकर जाओगे तो जनरली वो लोग आपको 500 रुपए 1000 रुपए देकर ही बेचते हैं वापस. एटलीस्ट हम मारवाड़ियों में तो ऐसा ही सिस्टम है. आई डोंट नो अबाउट एनी अदर बोलते हैं ना कैटेगरीज ऑफ पीपल, बट हमारे में ऐसा ही होता है दैट अगर आप भले ही 50 रुपए का सामान लेके चले जाओ, अगर कोई ट्रेन से जा रहा है तो वो आपको खाली हाथ रिटर्न नहीं करता. सो यस, कंसिडरेशन कैन बी देयर, बट सप्लाई मेरे फर्दरेंस और कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस में तो नहीं होती. सो अगर ऐसी एक्टिविटी होती है जहां पर आपका सप्लाई ही नहीं है, तो द एक्ट टेल्स देयर इज नो नीड टू गो टू शेड्यूल 2 बिकॉज सप्लाई ही नहीं. Am I clear with respect to this much?
Yes, sir.
So when I am clear with respect to this much, let us come to your notes. On, I believe it is on page number 16.
So just give me 2 minutes. I will open my book. I have not opened.
Hold, open.
Yes, sir. Page number 16.
Yeah, 16.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for anybody and everybody who cannot see it, I am just reading off that supply includes all forms of supply of goods and or services, and includes even agreeing to supply, which means अगर आपने supply कर दिया है, even that is supply. If you have agreed to supply, even that is supply only for a consideration and in the course or furtherance of my business. That is what we are discussing it from the start. It provides for inclusions of certain things, that is sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, lease and disposal of. So when I say that from this reading, at least I only come to know that supply भी होना चाहिए sorry, कंसिडरेशन भी होना चाहिए और कोर्स और फर्दरेंस ऑफ बिजनेस में भी वो चीज होनी चाहिए. देन आई टॉक अबाउट इंपोर्ट. अब याद रखना, द एक्ट दैट वी आर डिस्कसिंग इज गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स. सो ये जो इंपोर्ट है, दिस सेट ऑफ रूल्स इट इज एप्लीकेबल ऑन इंपोर्ट ऑफ services. अब कोई मेरे को पूछता है निहाल why not on import of goods? It is because on import of goods we already have customs act. So customs act के provisions ज्यादा applicable होंगे because जैसा अपन आगे देखेंगे कि टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई डिटरमाइन होती है, बिकॉज फॉरेन करेंसी है तो आपकी रेट ऑफ करेंसीज हर दिन चेंज होती है. तो भाई कौन सी डेट होती है, कौन सी रेट आपको लेनी है, all of it does not comes from the GST law, it all comes from your customs act. And because for goods we have customs, my scope is restricted to import of services and not extended to import of goods. I hope I am very clear on it.
Yes, sir. So because export में तो it will become customs, right? It will not be.
Export ka there would be an entire discussion only coming on imports and exports. So to give you a general answer, export of goods plus export of services, the basic conditions are there in both the acts, because good IGST as well as the customs. So yes, we'll have to check up with both the acts.
Okay.
But the definition of export is more or less similar only at both the places. So then that is not a very major challenge. The transaction should come, import of services. So I believe I have already done for a consideration. Now understand. मैंने उधर end लिख दिया है. You know what we have read throughout, that course of furtherance of business is important. Course of furtherance of business is important. But the government gives you a different angle altogether. It says if it is import for a consideration, there is no need to check course or furtherance of business. So if I have to now summarize what is the scope of supply when it comes to import of services, it is, if it is an import of services for a consideration, in the course or furtherance of business, GST is paid. If it is import of service for a consideration, not in the course or furtherance of service, GST is still payable. I'll give you two examples of it. One is covering in the course, one is covering not in the course. And as I like to call them case studies, so it is case study 1 for imports. Nihal wanted his office design. So he approached his friend in US to design his office. His friend said, Nihal, I would be charging you $1,000. Nihal says, willing to pay. Is GST payable on this? Yes. Now understand, when I talk about import of service, Nihal would be using it in the course or furtherance of his business. Yes. So GST is payable. Yes. Shivi has, say, a home which she wants to get it designed again from the US. The consideration is US dollar 100. Now, is Shivi going to use this for her personal, or sorry, for her office purpose? No. And yeah, please don't come and tell this thing to me that Nihal, it is a work from home scenario. So, we are all working from home. So even this home becomes my business place. No, Baba, no. Don't get on to all those logics. It is because you are only seeing up this past 2 years. And when this act was made, there was no corona at that point of time, at least. So then that intention is not correct, or rather that line of thinking is not correct. So coming back, Shivi has got her home designed. Home is for residence. Is GST still payable? Answer is yes. Why? Because consideration is paid. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Next part is, अब तक अपन ने क्या देखा है? We have seen all the places where there was supply. Now the government has that we have also made up something called as Schedule 3. Schedule 3 पे जाने से पहले I believe I have to talk something about government supplies. Government supplies. We can go understand both of them simultaneously. It tells me, Nihal, two activities or rather two places, if something is happening, it is not liable to GST. One are your activities under Schedule 3, and one is if the supplier is central government, state government, local authority. But understand, they 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 have to be engaged as public authorities. So if the central government, the state government, or the local authority is engaged in the capacity of a public authority, it is outside the scope of GST. But wait, the government got something over here. That if I put something like this, I would never be able to make money out of it. So what they did, they said the places where we are acting as public authorities would be notified by us. So till the time that activity is not notified, is it a supply? Yes. Am I clear? Am I clear about Schedule 3 and things that are not to be considered as a supply, neither of goods nor supply of services? There is one more thing.
Yes, sir.
That the government on recommendations of council, it may give out a notification wherein they would say that a particular item is neither goods nor service. Now, as and when this comes up, we would check and see as to what are the examples of it. I hope that the scope of supply is at least clear. This entire discussion that we had was all a part of your section 7 of the CGST Act. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Acha, are you enjoying it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. I'm understanding everything.
This is a happy moment. Now, before jumping on to your schedules, I believe it is now an appropriate time for us to understand the meaning of goods, the meaning of services. So, the definition of goods and the definition of services is, I believe, of paramount importance, because if I don't understand what is goods, if I don't understand what is services, what shall happen with me is I would never be able to understand a scenario wherein a particular item is a good or it is not a. And I would never be able to understand whether a particular element or an item is not a good or not a service. I'll tell you again why it is extremely important as well. But once we are through the definition, goods, again, larger the scope, larger the tax coverage. So they say that goods is every kind of movable property. अब movable का मतलब क्या होता है? What do you understand by the term movable?
Movable which are not immovable, like
I love this. I love this. What is a private limited company? Something that is not a public limited company. What is a public limited company? Something that is not a private limited company. I absolutely love this. Just kidding around. I mean, this is how we always used to answer the difference between something when we were in our school times. But understand, this is not how the law works, at least, because the term movable is not defined under my act for sure. So when it is not defined under my act, I need to check up with some other acts. Movable, to my mean, to my understanding, is which can be taken from one place to another, which can be again, as I say, fixed plus dismantled without major damage. Now when I say without major damage, it means, say for example, मैंने कुछ नट बोल्ट से कसा है, say for example मैंने कुछ नट बोल्ट से कसा, I again removed it out. After removing it out, I am carrying that piece of, say, furniture from my office to my home. While removing that out, there is no substantial damage that happens to that furniture. So that is what I say. And yeah, by the term fixed, I mean attached. I do not mean कि वो वहां पे आपने ऐसे करके अटैच कर दिया है कि वो आपकी एक इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी बन के आ गई सामने. No, 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 no. That is not what I meant when I used the word fixed word. I hope I am clear.
Yes, sir.
So when I use the term every kind of movable property, starting में आप लोगों ने मेरे को बता दिया, Nihal, it can mean laptop, it can mean charger, it can mean mobile, it can mean mouse, it can mean calculator, it can mean any damn thing on this planet which I can shift from one place to another, which I can take from one place to another is movable. मतलब सब कुछ गुड्स है, राइट. बट कुछ ऐसी चीजें भी है, कुछ ऐसी चीजें भी है जो इन्होंने स्पेसिफिकली इंक्लूड की. ओके, सो दीज आर सम स्पेसिफिक इंक्लूजन्स. नाउ व्हाई आर दे इंक्लूडेड, वी वुड सी एज एंड व्हेन दे कम, एंड मैं आपको कोई थंब रूल नहीं दूंगा ये चीज का. So the first thing that specifically included is actionable claims. What do you mean by the term actionable claims? Any claim on which an action can be taken is actionable claim. So for example, आप लॉटरी जीत गए, आपने लॉटरी जीत ली 1 करोड़ रुपए की. अब आप जाते हो लॉटरी वाले के पास में, लाओ 1 करोड़ रुपया दो. They say we are not paying you 1 crore rupees. Can you sue the lottery issuer? Yes. So that is an actionable claim. this. Second, growing crops. Is this movable?
Yes, yes. After it is ripe, it is movable.
No. Not after it's ripe. I am talking about growing crops.
Not.
Growing crops in its position as it is. Say for example, आपने अभी बीज बोया है and थोड़ी सी बारिश हुई और वो जो sprouts आते हैं ना first after the first water that it gets, that is a growing crop. Is that movable? No, it is not movable. But the logic is again, as you said, once it is ripe, once it is say cutted off, or once it is severed, it becomes movable. So even that is goods. Third, they talk about grass and things that are attached to land, which is either severed or agreed to be severed under a contract. I'll give you an example. Technically ये definition है, मैं आपको simple example दूं. Say I stay in Nashik. Okay. This is Nashik. Okay. I have a land. Say this is an agricultural land in Nashik where I grow sugarcane. I do a contract. Like understand. Now it is grass. Now it is grass. मैं आपको घास बेच देता हूँ. But when I say that मैं आपको घास बेच देता हूँ, मैं आपसे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आज ही एंटर कर लेता हूँ. ओके, कि मैं आपको ये जब दिखेगा ना, सॉरी, ये जब ये बड़ा हो जाएगा, जब when it will turn out to something say in a complete crop form or in a complete say sugarcane form, I would give it to you then. But I say that I want to enter the agreement today. Now what is my intention over here? That I would always say one thing, that it is not a good. I would say this thing to the departmental authorities. Now keeping this background in mind, what they did, they specifically included this. Why? Agreed to be severed is also a good. Am I clear?
Yes, yes, sir.
Now scenario 2, same thing is there, but the sugar canes are already grown. So once the sugar canes are already grown, I have severed it, and obviously this is a grass or things forming part of land. Even that is a good. सब चीज include करके काम नहीं चलता. You also have to give certain relaxations. Like 2 major relaxations. What major? There are only 2 relaxations given. One, money. Another, security. Money के लिए तो I will give you a very simple example. Say you have one note of 2000 rupees with you and you want to get it changed. You want change. So what you did, you approached me. निहाल 2000 का छुट्टा है क्या? I checked my pocket. 500 की 4 नोट थी. I gave you 500 की 4 नोट. I took that 2000 rupees from you. Topic and transaction clear. So on exchange of money, rather money they say is not my goods only. Security. अभी I am sure आप लोगों ने ये एक्ट पढ़ा रहेगा, Securitization Act. I believe that is सरफरेजी. वहां पर they say security is a good, and for the purpose of my GST, security is not a good. So whenever you are reading indirect taxes, Baba, remember, security is not to be considered as a good. I hope I am clear. After understanding what is goods, we need to also understand what is services. One of the most awesome definitions that I have ever come across is the definition of service. It tells me anything other than goods is what? सर्विस. मतलब अगर ये गुड्स नहीं है तो ये क्या है? सर्विस. अब दिमाग में ना एक सवाल आएगा, निहाल तूने मेरे को बोला मनी एंड सिक्योरिटी गुड्स नहीं, सर्विसेज है क्या? सॉरी यार, वो सर्विसेज भी नहीं. So the definition of goods and the definition of service has one thing in common, that is their exclusions. Money is neither goods nor service. Security is neither goods nor service. Am I very clear on this aspect?
Yes. So lending of money is not a service.
Lending of money, again you're talking about loans.
Yes.
It would come in our exemptions topic. So let us not reach out to a future topic as of now.
Okay.
Now there is a concept called as money conversion. When what happens is you have dollars, you want rupees. You go to a bank, you have $1,000. Say the exchange rate is currently 77. The bank tells you we would give you $1,000, but not at 77. We would only be giving it to you at say 76,500. Ideally, 1,000 into 77 should have been how much?
77,000.
What have you received?
76,500 and 500 as the bank commission.
So this is a consideration which is paid to the bank. So the act says that money changing activity that you do for a consideration is service. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
अब ये है ना बहुत ज्यादा खिचड़ी हो गया है, तो मैं आपको एक ये बनाता हूँ अच्छे से, so that you can also copy it off or take a screenshot of it as in whatever you like about it. roles. अच्छा चलो, so I have another question for you. अच्छा पहले क्वेश्चन सुन लो, उसके बाद में चाहिए तो कॉपी कर. Now the question is, whenever you deal in securities, okay, the broker charges you a commission. Now whether commission is liable to GST, commission is covered under service or not, is the question. Is the it is covered under GST and it is a supply of service only.
Service.
All right. So if you want to copy it or take a screenshot of it.
Sir, I have written it
You have written it.
along with you.
Now after understanding what is goods, what is services, let us understand what is neither goods nor services. Now why after the definition of the goods and the services, I want you to understand that the things which are neither of it. It is because once you have understood this thing, okay, so now your understanding of the entire meaning of goods covered, goods not covered, services covered, services not covered. Third category that now comes up is activities or transaction which are neither goods nor services. But understand, what comes from definition is money and securities. What comes from your schedule is the items that we will be discussing now. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
After that, we will be taking up a break of say 5-10 minutes ka breather, and then we can continue. But acha, we are,
Yeah, sir. Actually, today my office is going to start by 12:30.
acha,
So
so let us do
today
one
I'm
thing.
doing
Let us, yeah. So let us do one thing. Let us finish off this schedule 3, and then we can stop for the day only.
Yes, sir.
Works fine, no?
Yes, sir.
First item is a thing that, chalo, wah. Services by an employee to the employer in the course or in relation to his employment. Employee, employer. Why is this happening? Because of employment. So क्या हो रहा है ना, इधर मैं आपको बात बोलता हूँ. You are on job. Your employer is your employer. But if I have to understand this from a supplier recipient viewpoint, so tell me honestly, can I call you as supplier? Can I call your employer as recipient of service?
Yes.
Technically,
Yes.
yes, because that is what is happening. I work for 30 days. I give him my presence and my supplies for 30 days, and in lieu of that, he gives me some salary. That is what is happening as
Yes.
well. But if I apply this point in my GST Act, what will happen is every employee who has a salary of say 20 lakhs would then be liable to registration under GST. Now the government feels no, this is not our intention. Sorry, we beg to differ. But if you beg to differ and you don't want a large chunk of salaried employees coming under the GST law, you will have to specify it. So the intention is not to bring out the salaried class in GST and ask them to file returns. Rather, the intention is to tell them that bhai aap employment mein ho, you focus on your employment. We don't want any sort of compliances from you, and hence we have excluded your services. So it is the employment that you give is neither a goods nor a service. जाने दो वो कुछ भी नहीं. Am I clear?
Yes.
But not so simple. The employer gets super happy from you. You are the star performer, and therefore he gives you a gift. Obviously, the gift is also because of employment. When that gift is also because of employment, the government tells you want to gift, na gift, but stay in your limit. अपने लिमिट में. कितनी लिमिट है? 50,000. So if the value of gift given by the employer to the employee is 50,000 or less, it is not taxable and it is fairly and squarely covered under my schedule 3. But if the gift is more than 50,000, say it is 50,000 rupees one, the 50,000 so then the entire sum of 50,001 rupees is liable to GST. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. So you mean to say if the gift is, for instance, it's 52,000, then also now it crosses the limit of 50,000, so my tax will be levied on all 52,000.
Correct. So we have a this is nothing but a check limit. That check, if it is under that, nothing to worry. If it is above it, everything becomes taxable and you don't get any benefit of minus 50,000 and then the tax.
So does this apply to bonus also?
Bonus, no, because bonus is generally received in your cash element only. And when I say gift, it is obviously that gift has to be either a good or a service. And when I say bonus, what I understand from bonus is you get money.
Okay.
So money is neither goods nor service, therefore not happening.
Okay.
Second is services by courts, tribunals for any time in force. Now tell me one thing very logically. You are already harassed. आप जा रहे हो एक कोर्ट केस करते हो, ठीक है, से फॉर एग्जांपल आपके बाजू वाला ही है, वो आपके घर पे आके कुछ ना कुछ परेशानी करता रहता है, झगड़ा करता रहता है, ही डज एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ नॉनसेंस. आप उसके अगेंस्ट में आप कोर्ट जाते हो, आप उसको बोलते हो भाई संभाल के रखो इसको, डू समथिंग दैट यू नो दैट ईजेस माय लाइफ. फॉर श्योर ए कोर्ट है तो इट विल नॉट हियर यू फॉर फ्री. इट ऑब्वियसली टेक्स अप अ प्री डिपॉजिट if you have to give out a hearing in court. अब मैं आपको बोलूं प्री डिपॉजिट तो दो, साथ में उस पर जीएसटी भी लगाता हूं मैं आपको, तो डोंट यू फील दैट यार मैं जा ही रहा हूं क्योंकि परेशान हूं, मैं आपसे न्याय मांगने जा रहा हूं, उसके लिए चलो आपकी फीस है, बिकॉज आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट वो डिपॉजिट इज अ रिस्पेक्ट टू योर टाइम, आप मेरे को बोल रहे हो उस पर भी जीएसटी दे दे मुझे, सो देन दैट इज नॉट राइट, और rather that is not the intention of this law. Therefore, अगर services by court or tribunal है, तो then they say that there is no GST payable on it. Now the third element is, we elect our representatives, MPs, MLAs, elections वैसे भी आने ही वाले हैं in certain part of the country. So जो आपके MPs, MLA function करते हैं, are they giving you service? Yes. क्यों? क्योंकि आपका इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है, वो आपकी कंप्लेंट्स लेके जाएगा एट द अप्रोप्रिएट लेवल, तो वो पूरी की पूरी जो वो वार्ड है या वो जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उसको सर्विस तो देता है, लेकिन सर्विस पर वो भी एट पब्लिक वेलफेयर फंक्शंस ऑफ एमपी, इस पर जीएसटी लगाना, गवर्नमेंट बोलती है वी डोंट हैव दैट एम, सो व्हेन यू डोंट हैव दैट एम बट हेलो सर्विसेज तो मिल रही है, तो जब सर्विसेज मिल रही है तो हमने उसको एक्सक्लूड कर, और एक्सक्लूड कैसे किया है? शेड्यूल में डाल के। As I said, India is a country that runs high on emotions, and the worst emotion that we have is death of a loved one. So funeral, burial, crematorium, mortuary services पर भी जीएसटी नहीं लगता। आपकी अगर एम्बुलेंस की सर्विस आई है टू कैरी द बॉडी ऑफ द डिसीज्ड, even on that there is no GST line. Now there is a point on sale of land which I am not touching it right now. I would do and I would cover it along with our schedule 2. So keep that point as pending from my side. Now we just understood the meaning of goods. Goods में अपन ने एक चीज समझी थी that actionable claim is also goods. So when I say actionable claim is also goods, लेकिन एक्शनेबल क्लेम का है ना एक बहुत जेनरिक मीनिंग होता है। नाउ दैट मीनिंग इज वेरी सिंपल, ओके, आई टॉक टू यू इन अ वेरी लेमैन टर्म, जैसा कि मैं स्टार्ट से ही करता आया हूं। आपने एक किराएदार को अपने घर पे रखा, आई एम वेरी स्पेसिफिक अबाउट इट बीइंग अ हाउस, रेसिडेंशियल। उसने आपको पहले 5 महीने प्रॉपरली रेंट पे किया, नेक्स्ट 1 साल हो गए वो आपको रेंट ही नहीं दे, सो इज रेंट रिसीवेबल योर राइट? यस। व्हेन आई से इट इज योर राइट, डू यू हैव अ क्लेम ऑफ दैट रेंट? यस। अब वो जब आपको रेंट पे नहीं कर रहा, कैन यू टेक एन एक्शन ऑन हिम? यस निहाल, आई कैन टेक एन एक्शन ऑन हिम एज वेल। अब एक्शन कैसे लूंगा? आई वुड ड्रैग हिम टू द कोर्ट। So when I drag him to the court, am I taking an action? Yes. So actionable claim को आपने पहले तो बोल दिया गुड्स है, फिर आप यहाँ पर आके लिख देते हो कि एक्शनेबल क्लेम ना तो गुड्स है ना तो सर्विसेज है। सिर्फ 3 टाइप के एक्शनेबल क्लेम्स को आपने गुड्स के डेफिनेशन में रखा है, वो है लॉटरी, बेटिंग एंड गैम्बलिंग। लॉटरी, बेटिंग, गैम्बलिंग अगर एक्शनेबल क्लेम है तो यस इट इज अ गुड। अगर इसके अलावा कोई भी एक्शनेबल क्लेम है तो इट इज नॉट अ गुड, इट इज नॉट अ सर्विस। एम आई वेरी क्लियर ऑन दिस पार्ट?
Yes. That means कि GST सिर्फ गैम्बलिंग, बेटिंग एंड लॉटरी पे लगेगा और किसी पे नहीं।
Absolutely perfect analysis. Supply of goods from a place. चलो, this is very interesting, मजा आएगा आपको सुन के। हुआ ये कि आपके गुड्स थे केप टाउन में, केप टाउन इज इन साउथ अफ्रीका। आपके गुड्स जा रहे हैं क्वींसलैंड, क्वींसलैंड इज इन ठीक है, क्वींसलैंड को अपन साइड में रख देते हैं। आपके गुड्स जा रहे हैं सिडनी, सिडनी इज इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया। What has happened is, so when your goods are moving from Cape Town to Sydney, इंडिया से होते हुए जाएंगे ना गुड्स? यस, क्यों? क्योंकि द गुड्स आर वुड बी फ्लोइंग फ्रॉम से वाटर। तो यू नो ना अपना इंडिया का डेफिनेशन इन कस्टम्स या इंडिया का डेफिनेशन इवन इन दिस एक्ट के इट इज नॉट जस्ट द लैंड ऑफ इंडिया, इट इज द वाटर, वाटर नीचे हो गया सॉरी, इट इज द वाटर प्लस द एयर अबव इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज इंडिया ओनली। तो आपके गुड्स है ना इंडिया के पानी से जा रहे, ओके। अब गुड्स इंडिया में आए, सी टेक्निकली यस, बट एक्चुअली नो। क्यों? क्योंकि पानी में तो गए गुड्स, बट दे डिड नॉट बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ माय टेरिटरी, सो द गुड्स डिड नॉट एंटर इंडिया एज सच। हाँ प्लीज, हाँ डोंट कम टू दिस अंडरस्टैंडिंग के निहाल जब पानी से जा रहा है तो द गुड्स हैव एंटर्ड इनटू इंडिया। नहीं नहीं नहीं, एंटरिंग इनटू इंडिया मींस आपके पोर्ट पे आएगा, आपके पोर्ट पे आके डिसलॉज होगा, वो होता है एंटरिंग इनटू इंडिया। एंड ये मीनिंग भी कहां से आ रहा है? इट कम्स फ्रॉम योर कस्टम्स एक्ट, ओके। बट फॉर अ प्रॉपर और अ कॉमन अंडरस्टैंडिंग, व्हेन आई मीन द गुड्स एंटर इनटू इंडिया, इट मींस वो कोई तो मेरे पोर्ट पे आके सॉरी, वो कोई तो मेरे पोर्ट पे आके डिसलॉज हुआ है, वो मेरे पोर्ट पे पड़ा रहा था, एक बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल होती है, वो बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल हो चुकी है। So that means what means that the goods have entered into India. For now, this understanding is sufficient. As and when we would be covering upon the topic of imports and exports, इसको और डिटेल में भी अपन समझेंगे। So, अगर आपकी बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल नहीं हुई है, अगर मेरे को अभी के लिए आपको एक थंब रूल देना है, तो अगर आपकी बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल नहीं हुई तो द गुड्स हैव नॉट एंटर्ड इनटू इंडिया। जस्ट बिकॉज वो इंडियन वाटर यूज किया है तो दैट डज नॉट मीन कि वो गुड्स इंडिया में एंटर हुआ है। सो ऐसे सप्लाईज पे या ऐसा जो मूवमेंट ऑफ गुड्स है या ऐसी जो सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स हो रही है फ्रॉम केप टाउन इन साउथ अफ्रीका टू सिडनी इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, क्या इस पर जीएसटी लगाना वाजिब है? आंसर इज नो, जीएसटी इज नॉट लेविड। Am I clear? So we'll also read
goods which are in transit are not supposed to be levied for GST.
Did not get you.
मैंने कहा गुड्स इन ट्रांजिट उस पे जीएसटी नहीं लगेगी।
Absolutely, absolutely. इसको अगर मैं और पॉलिश लैंग्वेज में बोलूं तो देन दिस इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज थर्ड पार्टी एक्सपोर्ट्स, सॉरी थर्ड कंट्री एक्सपोर्ट। एंड ये जो मीनिंग है दैट हैज ओनली कम रिसेंटली इन द ईयर 2019 फ्रॉम दिस फॉर दिस एक्ट। बिफोर 2019 सिर्फ पहले के 6 ही थे, बट एनीवेज वी आर इन ईयर 22। सो कब आया? would only arise if there is a litigation at our hand, but we are studying academics and in academics there is no litigation ever. So this is how it is. And one more thing, supply of a warehoused goods to any other person before clearance for home consumption is also not leviable to GST. ये बेसिकली आपका हाई सी सेल्स हो जाता है। नहीं, हाई सी सेल्स नेक्स्ट पार्ट में अलग से। व्हाट इज हैपेंड इज कि आपका जो गुड्स है ना, वो गुड्स पड़ा है आपके कस्टम्स के वेयर हाउस में। याद रखना, बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल नहीं हुई है, आपके गुड्स को होम कंजम्पशन के लिए क्लियरेंस भी नहीं मिला है, वो गुड्स कस्टम्स के वेयर हाउस में ही पड़ा है। सो जब आपका गुड्स इंडियन लैंड का पार्ट ही नहीं बना, तो फॉर श्योर यू नो जो जीएसटी लेविएबल है, आप उसको क्या सोच के लगाओगे, गुड्स या सर्विस? एम आई क्लियर? सो बिकॉज वो इंडिया में नहीं आया, सो ना आप उसको गुड्स मान रहे हो ना आप उसको सर्विस मान रहे हो, वो पड़ा है सिर्फ वेयर हाउस में। नेक्स्ट आपकी हाईसी सेल्स है। हाईसी सेल्स इज व्हाट के आपने क्या किया, चलो मैं आपको एग्जांपल से समझा देता हूँ लिख के, ज्यादा अच्छा। या पेज पे लिख यहाँ पे बीच पेज की लिमिट आ गई। हाईसी सेल्स में क्या होता है ना, ड्राइंग भी नहीं कर रहे हैं। Now what is the concept of high C sales? Say
High C sales.
high C sales.
Okay.
Say Shrivi is in Mumbai, Nihal is in Mumbai. Shivi has imported certain goods from Cape Town. So the goods are in transit. Goods किधर है अभी तक? पानी में. Nihal has approached Shivi. Shivi तेरे goods आ रहे हैं ना पानी से? Shivi बोलते हैं, yeah, my goods are coming. They are just about to be imported. Do one thing. Sell off those goods to me. Shivi says, no, I don't want to sell it off to you. Nihal is like, I'll give you a 20% profit flat. Customs में जाकर goods भी मैं छुड़ा लूंगा. You only do one thing. You only do what? Transfer of these goods by document. Transfer by document. Ab, who has become the owner of goods? Nihal. But where are the goods? They are in high sea. They are in water. पानी में अभी तक. ट्रांसफर भी कैसे हुआ है? By documents. Now understand. Are the goods a part of country? No. Can any GST be levied?
No.
It can be levied, but you will levy it as what? As goods or as service? That is a question. See, मेरा एक्ट है, मैं चाहे लेवी तो मैं किसी पर भी कर दूं, but I'll have to first fix it whether it is goods or it is service. So high C sales as such, I do not find it either under goods or under service. So उन्होंने बोल दिया high C sales be not liable. Sorry, high C sales is also called under Schedule 3. Now first let us also read as to what the exact wordings are. Supply of goods by the consignee to any other person. So here who is the consignee? Shivi. To any other person. Now who is that any other person? Nihal. By endorsement of title, by endorsement of documents of title of goods, after the goods have been dispatched from the port of origin. आपका goods किधर था? पानी में. So मतलब जो port of origin था आपका केप टाउन, वहां से the goods have already been dispatched. But बिफोर क्लियरेंस फॉर होम कंजम्पशन। अगर आपका गुड्स होम कंजम्पशन के लिए क्लियर हो गया तो याद रखना दैट बिकम्स अ पार्ट ऑफ योर इंडियन गुड्स और इंडियन टेरिटरी, एंड उसके बाद उस पर आईजीएसटी, सीजीएसटी, एसजीएसटी, whatever is the GST based on अपना whether it is an interested or interested सब applicable हो जाएगा। Am I clear as to what is IC sales?
Yes, sir.
Am I clear as to what is supply of warehoused goods to another person for before home clearance?
Yes.
Am I clear about the third country exports?
Yes.
Am I clear about Schedule 3?
Yes.
Am I clear about why you are supposed to study the law?
Yes, sir.
Acha. So, are you clear as to what is about what is the scope plus what is Schedule 3?
Yes.
Okay. So, I believe that let us end it for today for here only. And so, this is all that I had to say, at least for today. And if there are any queries or there are suggestions for me, you can write down in the comment section as well as in the chat box. So thank you so much. This is all that I had to say for today, and
Yes,
hope
sir.
to see you all very soon. Till that time, please do take very good care of yourself and stay safe, stay at home. Thank you so much.